how does one give back to a city, a country even? How do you say thank you, but not say thank you because thank you just doesn't feel like enough? In a world where many people say things and do something opposite of what they say, I try to find a way to make sure that my actions are congruent with what I actually say and feel. And as an English teacher, I feel like I'm great with my words, so as verbose as I could be, I would like my actions to match that verbosity. All of that being said, I moved to a city 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago. 6 years ago. And that city became my home. Even when I moved out of it, I still work there. And I love it so much. Like the students, the people, everything about it feels like it's my new hometown. No offense, Louisville, Kentucky. I just love this place in Ibaraki. And I've been thinking about how can I give back to that city? How can I do something for Japan to show them the love and thankfulness that I have for being here, but also continue to be committed to my passion. And while in the midst of thought for this, I was recommended to try out for a position I'd heard of before, but I had really no interest in because it would possibly take me away from the school that I love so much. And for those of you who don't know, I'm not interested in climbing a corporate ladder. I have no desire for a ton of money. I have only a desire to be happy. And so when I was approached about a specialist position and told what it would entail, which we'll talk about later, I was intrigued and I was scared, and I didn't feel pressure. I was scared because it would change everything. And maybe I would be back at the school that I love, or maybe not. And I still don't know. But I want to take you through the process of interviewing for this. And then after that, we'll talk about all the steps to this process, just in case you're somebody who might be interested in doing this particular job and going through the rigors of this position. Maybe you already live in Japan, or maybe you're just interested in seeing how the process works in being a civil servant, I guess. Nevertheless, I appreciate you watching this video. And if you're new here, I'm Dante, and this is Dante Dakara.
Hold up, look, walking this life, hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my life, hey. I'm really him. Don't believe me? Come and see me. Got 3 wishes from my genie. Now I'm on your local TV. Y'all don't talk. Got demons say she wanna come and see me when I'm in a local city. I'm like, pause though.
I got ready as I often do for work. I don't often wear suits, however. I think I try to wear suits twice a week, but special occasions and whatnot. So I dressed with my suit. I was adorned with my SDG pen and my Air Force pen, and that seemed to be enough as far as the accessories are concerned. I started off with a peach smoothie. Peaches are in season, and I try to eat as much seasonal fruit as possible, and I want to keep a normal day. I wanted to keep my normal routine, BCAAs, smoothie, just keep it moving just like normal. Don't do anything special, mess up my stomach or anything like that. I wasn't nervous, but I just wanted to keep it just chill. After that, I packed my lunch. The night before, I had made a scrumptious ham and cheese sandwich. I packaged up some pineapples, have my regular Greek yogurt. Then, of course, I made sure that it stayed packed and frozen in my Fall Raven bag with some ice packs that I got from the bakery. I was permitted to bring water, so of course I brought water, and then because I was skipping my morning caffeine, I went ahead and made a dirty try to go. One last check before I left, and smashing the smoothie, and a bit of vanity because, I'm in a suit. Gotta enjoy it. On the way there, it took about 2 hours. So I'm leaving at about 5 o'clock. Station, of course, is empty. And I'll be traveling north all the way to Mito, Ibaraki. The train system made it so that, after changing I only had to take 2 trains to get there. The first train to the Joban line and the Joban line train all the way to Mito. So the seats were quite comfortable, and because it was so early, nobody was on the train. It allows me to, take shots like this and look really cool. What actually amazed me about being on this train was just the fact that, there's just so much countryside in Ibaraki. Because I live in southern Ibaraki, or rather, I work in southern Ibaraki, don't live there. I often just see the city suburbs kind of hamlet area, and I don't often see the countryside anymore. When I lived there, I lived right on the edge of a farm, but now I don't see that as much anymore unless I'm just passing through like I'm doing now. And it was just so peaceful just to see that and enjoy the farmlands, the rice paddies, the rural stations that you had to press a button to open the train doors for. This particular scene was quite beautiful to me. I don't know why. It's just laid out like a picture. It just doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem like it's moving, but if you kind of look at it for long enough, you'll be able to see that the wind's moving the trees, or rather the bushes. Shortly after that, I arrived in Mito, and, well, I'll let myself do the talking. So, here we are in Mito, and I didn't really know if I'm going to use this video, but here we go. So, I have this interview/test for the specialist certification, and it's supposedly a demo lesson, a test, and 2 interviews. One 30-minute interview in English, and then one 30-minute interview in Japanese. Now, I have never failed an interview, ever. So, the only pressure I feel is from me, really. But I don't really feel any pressure. I'm not really worried about anything. I'm not really concerned about anything because I don't really need the job. It's just one more way of giving back. We'll talk about that some other time. All you need to know now is I'm heading to Mito First High School to show them what I am. Let's see if they like it. So, on my walk here, I'm seeing the march of people going up going around the bend. And I think that there are both foreigners taking this test, and there are other Japanese teachers who are taking their certification tests. And we're all going to the same place. Now, usually this is when I would feel my competitive bug, and I probably won't talk to anybody because, I'm kind of Kobe Bryant in that way where, we're not friends when we're in the arena. I'm trying to bust your ass. But, as teachers, we're all here for the same purpose. So I don't know if I'm going to have that same mentality when I walk in here. But I have that itch when I see other people that are competing with me or that are competing for the same position. And I'm like, what do I have to say to you? I don't know. Like, it's fun though. Like, I haven't felt like this in a very long time, where like I was actually fighting for something or trying for something. And I kind of thought this was going to be one of those peaceful kind of interviews where I just go in, I do my best, and I feel great. But now that I see other people, it's like, okay, this is a thing. This is a thing. The interview lasts about, I thought it was going to last all day, but it only ended up lasting about 3 to 4 hours. And I'll go into each portion of the interview at the end, because it was more than just talking. But it was certainly an interesting experience. And it was a beautiful school. So I am finished with my test. It wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be, but that could be because I failed it. Who knows? Yeah, like I feel pretty good, like walking out of there. Like there were some questions that were really difficult that I couldn't understand, but they knew enough English to help me out. But I think I answered all the questions as honestly and truthfully as possible. They asked me the 2 questions that I was really worried about them asking, and it was, hey, do you want to be in junior high school or elementary school? And I was like, I have 0 interest in being in elementary school. Like, however, if you put me there, then, you know, I hope that I will soon be returning to junior high school after that. The other difficult question was, like, they asked me about, you know, where I live, and like, you know, it's a Ibaraki position, you know, I don't live in Ibaraki, what are you gonna do? And I said, look, you know, my family's important, and, you know, my life is in Tokyo, and so, you know, work-life balance, happy teacher makes happy students. If I have to be anywhere, I'd rather be in Moriya. That's where I want to be. And I'm sad to think of life in any other way. And I said that as poetically as I could muster in Japanese, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I can't really say. Who knows? All I can say is that this is only, you know, the first step in the specialist process. Maybe I'll be on step 2, maybe I won't. We'll see. But I'll wrap it up with me sitting at my desk or at the table and talking to you guys there. When it all ended, I got to enjoy my pineapple and my sandwich and enjoy the view on the way back. And I guess, you know, that wraps up this section. So get back to my not so beautiful face. Before that, actually, this is my otsukare-sama cake. And things like this, you know, yeah, beautiful, delicious, just so appreciative of it. Okay, thanks. Welcome back. So I'm going to answer some questions that I kind of jotted down that I thought that perhaps would help some people kind of get a better picture of what this whole position is. So what is a specialist? Well, a specialist, like Ibaraki has set out to create one of the best English programs in Japan, and while valuing, you know, a vibrant and progressive educational curriculum, not to be confused with progressive politics, they thought that it would be better to actually hire English specialists, not just English specialists. They have specialists in all criteria, which I'll get into how I know that in a second. But in this way, they can hire subject matter experts to boost their cadre of teachers at certain schools, so that they can address maybe some deficiencies that they find in their curriculum, or deficiencies they find in certain areas, or just to, like, you know, create like a very diverse but highly knowledgeable staff. Okay, long answer. So how do I know that there's more than just English? Well, for one, I read the listing, but they have English, Japanese, science. They have a bunch of different kinds of specialists. How did I find out about this position? Well, I knew about it before. My old boss, he became one. One of my old colleagues, she became one. And I think that, or actually, another one of my colleagues, he became one. So I'd heard about it before. And if you're wondering why I was never interested in it before, there's two reasons. One, I didn't think my Japanese was good enough. And two, I wasn't prepared for the idea that I might have to leave my school. Still not. I'll talk about that later. But that position may require, it does require that I speak Japanese well enough, and may require that I leave my school. Don't know. So what's the process? Well, the process is submitting a paper application, which you can download from the city or the prefecture's website. I filled mine out in Japanese because I thought you had to fill it out in Japanese. Found out from one of the other members who actually applied that you could apply in English or you can submit it in English. I submitted everything in Japanese. So Japanese form, I wrote my character statement, or rather my statement of intent, all in Japanese, which was incredibly difficult. And I had a lot of help with that, translating it. I translated it initially, but then I had a number of proofreaders, all of whom I'm super appreciative. Especially considering that I'm particularly verbose, as you might have guessed or noticed. So it's quite difficult to, do away with some of the superfluous language and kind of connect feelings with words and words with meaning. So that was quite difficult. So I sent this off with a return envelope, as well as a statement of my work. Where, not where I've worked, but what my work, I guess, is where I've worked. It's kind of like a resume, except for the fact that it's just the job stuff on there. And then I had a character statement from my principal, whom he elected to do that himself. I did not ask him to do it. As a matter of fact, it was at their urging that I even try this thing. And then after that, you send it off, and then you wait for you to get a letter back saying, hey, you have passed the first checkpoint. You can come interview. I didn't get that letter until the Wednesday prior to the interview, which was on a Sunday. So as you might have guessed, I was a bit nervous about that. So next. The cost to application. There's no cost other than the cost of getting a small picture of yourself to put on your form, and the cost of actually going to the interview site. There is no actual additional cost. The results, I talked to a previous applicant. He said that the results would come in anywhere between 1 to 2 months, which is incredibly long, but luckily I'm too busy to care. The pros and the cons of the position. The pros are that it's a civil servant job, which means it's secure. Like, I don't have to worry about the whims of a contract, which is what happens with Interact. They have to make sure they re-sign a contract every 3 years with my particular city, and if they don't, somebody else could possibly get that contract, and I would have to then hope that I would just have to hope that I can get a job with that company that gets that contract, and then that I can go back to my school. But I've never had to worry about that because we have a pretty good situation in my city. So another pro is the fact that it, of course, has better benefits and pay package. Not that I care about money. For those of you who know me, I'm technically retired, medically retired, because I have certain deficiencies that will not allow me to, or rather, that did not allow me to continue my career in the Air Force. And because of that, it's severely limited, my prospects. I'm only doing this because I want to be happy. I'm not doing it because of money. I'm happy now, really. I didn't need to do this. It was, again, only at the urging of people that I care about, and it felt like it was a way that I could say thank you to them, that I could do this. Another pro is just the responsibility. Right now I already take a lot of responsibility in class, but this would be official. This would be official. I would have more responsibility than just, your humdrum foreign teacher. Cons, possibly moving schools. Possibly, being further away from Tokyo, as far as like my working situation is concerned. But in my interview, I said I have no interest in moving. My life is centered around this area, and it's going to stay that way. And, happy teachers make happy students. I think I said that in my little blip over there. So that is a con, though. Another con is the fact that it's for elementary school and junior high school, so they could put me in both. I have no interest in teaching elementary school, as I said before. So that's a con. Another con is, and it sounds weird, but another con is that I would have to leave the company structure that I'm in, and that's uncomfortable for me because I'm a very loyal person when it comes to my company membership. I was with the Air Force for 10 years. I only left because I was injured. I've been with Interact for my entire time in Japan because I saw no reason to leave because, I'm left alone. They let me do what I want and what I need to do to be successful in my position. I have a position of relative leadership, though, on a day-to-day basis that can stem anywhere between doing nothing to doing somebody else's job. So yeah, those are the pros and the cons. The pay, it's higher than now. At least 320,000 yen a month, at least. And that's if I was young. I'm not, or when I say young, I mean that would be if I was inexperienced. I am experienced, so. So yeah, I won't dwell too much on that, but money is a whole other bag of things. What kind of questions did they ask in the interview? It was interesting. They asked the questions I expected. I'm not going to get too deep in the questions because I don't want to make it unfair for future applicants. I would just say, know your craft. Know your craft in English, know your craft in Japanese, know your philosophy for teaching. I know, I have a very strong drive, a very strong passion. So my philosophy in teaching is very methodical. It's very well thought out. It's not by the seat of my pants. And it's very much for the betterment of my students and for the betterment of their lives. I know that in the past, I've had to deal with some controversy with another page about, my own desires. I think my desires lie in, making sure that I give my students the best possible educational experience so that they can address life in the easiest possible way. I really do focus in on what they need to survive and then what they need to thrive, and then find the best part to merge those two things, especially for the students that don't have such a high level, and then the students that seek to certainly exceed the curriculum. I of course address that as well. So have a really strong idea of your educational philosophy. Understand what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. I was honest. There are things that I just don't want to do. And I'm at the point in my life where I'm not going to go where you tell me to go just because you told me to go there. I'm not going to do what you tell me to do just because you told me to do it. And not everybody can say that and everybody can do that. And I understand that. That's a privilege, even though it came at a cost. So, yeah, I don't know what you call a privilege that comes with a cost. Let me know below. But yeah, I'm just not. So my answers were honest. They were professional, but they were honest. They asked questions about, what if this happens with a student, what would you do? Or what if this happens with a colleague, what would you do? How do you communicate? How do you do all these things that are necessary in being a teacher in a Japanese school as a foreign worker? So it's really important that you understand your place in Japanese society, your place in your school system, your place in a school, and then also your place in the community. And so all those questions were asked and answered. I think the next question is, who knows? who knows about this position? You know, have I told a lot of people? My students know. My students know that, you know, I had this test. They know that, you know, they know that my dream is kind of to be a homeroom teacher here in Japan. Like that, like I want my own class. I want to give them this kind of unique global homeroom class. That is the dream. Like the reason why I wouldn't do it at a private school is because like I think that most of the time you expect this kind of thing in the reason why I do this in a public school is because most of the time you expect that kind of thing from a private school. And I want to give my students the kind of focused and driven and high level education in a public school. I don't feel like you need to go to private school to get that. I hate that mentality in America, and that mentality is kind of here in Japan, though it's a little bit different depending on your area. We can talk about it in another video. And then lastly, you know, how does my school feel about this? They have been pushing me all the way to do this. All the way. And, you know, I'm sure Interact has their feelings about it. Well, actually, I don't know. Like, oftentimes this company feels like it doesn't care about what you want to do as long as you do what they tell you to do when they need it. So, now I've been with the company for a while, and, you know, I've been loyal, and I've tried my best to show them the best of myself, and do the best that I can to make everything that I touch gold. And so by that metric, I would assume that they would be disappointed if I left. By that same metric, they also understand the fact that I'm severely underpaid for what I do. And I'm severely underrespected for what I do. And no matter how much they say they respect me, their copy and paste letters of or awards for achievement mean nothing to someone like me. I do this purely for the abilities to do the job, and they can't give me anything else on top of that. Whereas specialist position gives me an opportunity to actually sculpt and mold curriculum, like in my vision, and that is something amazing. If I can do it. If you have more questions about this, I'll answer them in part 2 of this video. The specialist part 2 will happen when I receive the results, and I'll let you guys know everything that happens and what's going to happen from them. And if there's a part 3, it'll be if I got the position. If I don't get the position, then step 2 is going to be the last one. And sometimes, you know, only having a second movie is fine. Looking at you, Bad Boys. Bad Boys 2 was enough. Didn't need Bad Boys 3. It's nice. I appreciate it. Bad Boys 2. Perfect. Again, if you have any questions, let me know below. If you like the video, like it. If you want to see more about teaching and more about life in Japan, then of course, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you sticking with me for this long. I'm Dante. And that's an idiot. I'm Dante Dakara, and I'll talk to you again next time. Later.
Yeah, I'm really talking my shit like, hey, really hold up.